captivate audiences, blending wit with cultural insight. His career began with Ralph Stanley and the Clinch Mountain Boys in 1969, where he honed his mandolin skills and developed his unique stage presence. Thomason's humor, often satirical, adds depth to his performances, addressing serious topics with levity. As the frontman of Dry Branch Fire Squad, he champions traditional bluegrass. Beyond music, Thomason has worked as an educator, is a skilled horse trainer, and an intellectual whose dedication to his craft and community has left an indelible mark on the bluegrass culture. Congratulations. Sidley Austin LLP. Sidley Austin LLP is a prestigious global law firm that has made significant contributions to the International Bluegrass Music Association through pro bono legal services since 2015. Holly Gregory, a partner at Sidley Austin and co-head of their global corporate governance practice, initiated this partnership due to her passion for bluegrass music. The firm has proved invaluable support in areas such as corporate governance, including revising bylaws and educating directors, transitioning the IBMA to 501c3 nonprofit status, enabling tax-deductible donations, advising on contracts and agreements, assisting with travel visa processes for international bands, and protecting IBMA's intellectual property. Over the last decade, Sidley Austin has donated over $1.5 million in legal services, ensuring the IBMA's stability and growth, especially during challenging times like the pandemic. And Missy Raines. Missy Raines, a trailblazing bassist and a celebrated figure in bluegrass music. She has won the International Bluegrass Music Association's Bass Player of the Year award an unprecedented 10 times, becoming the first woman to achieve this honor. Raines began touring professionally as a teenager and has worked with legends like Eddie Adcock and Claire Lynch. Her duo with Jim Hurst showcased her innovative bass playing and improvisational skills, while her American jazz-tinged ensemble, Missy Raines and the New Hip, I still love that name, highlighted her versatility and a band leader. Raines also co-founded the Helen Highwater String Band and teaches bass online, inspiring future generations. Her Grammy-nominated album, Royal Traveler, and numerous accolades cement her legacy as a pioneering musician and role model in acoustic music. Congratulations. Congratulations to all the 2025 IBMA Distinguished Achievement Awards recipients, and here to tell us about IBMA and announce the 2025 Bluegrass Hall of Fame inductees, please make welcome the International Bluegrass Music Association's Executive Director, Mr. Ken White.
I'll steal this one. Well, yeah. Why did they get me up here? Anyway, I'll say that one of the best parts of this job of being executive director of this great organization is getting to work with and recognize the Hall of Fame members. So let me tell you about the 3 new inductees to the 2025 class. First off, we'll start with none other than Hot Rize. Lisbon, Colorado struck Raines and took their name from the secret ingredient of Martha White flour, a long-term bluegrass sponsor. Best remembered for the 12-year stretch from 1978 to 1990, when it was a full-time touring band. The members were banjo player Pete Wernick, a.k.a. Dr. Banjo, mandolin fiddle player and lead singer Tim O'Brien, guitarist Charles Sawtell, and bass player and MC Nick Forrester. The 4 had met while working in different capacities at the Denver Folklife Center. From the beginning, band members shared an affinity for old songs, but original songs like Nellie Kane, Just Like You, Shadow in My Room, and I Am on the Road became a key component of the group's sound, as did songs from genres other than bluegrass. While the group members revered the first-generation bluegrass masters, dressing in suits and vintage ties and singing around a single microphone, they sought not to be respectful imitators, but rather second-generation originals. Their unique sound built upon the strengths and limitations of its members, and a free-form stage presence that included their alter ego honky-tonk personalities, Red Knuckles and the Trailblazers, endeared the band to a worldwide audience. Sautel's artful and distinctive, often surprising guitar, Forrester's innovative electric bass, and O'Brien's high-voltage, jazz-infused mandolin, underpinned by Wernick's creative scrub-style banjo, and O'Brien and Forrester's vocal duet. With unique approaches to instrumental roles and record production, Hot Rize sounded like themselves and nobody else. Our next inductees to the 2025 Hall of Fame are the Bluegrass Cardinals. The Cardinals were a prominent bluegrass group that toured and recorded extensively from 1974 to 1997, excuse me. The band was celebrated for its flawless harmonies, virtuoso playing, and original material. Formed in California by banjoist Don Parmley, his guitarist son David Parmley, and mandolinist Randy Graham, the band debuted with a 15-week gig at Busch Gardens. A self-titled album, one that featured some of the earliest use of a cappella gospel singing and bluegrass, followed soon afterwards. Relocating to Virginia in 1976, the Cardinals released 23 albums over 2 decades on labels including Rounder, CMH, and Sugar Hill. Their 1991 project, Families of Tradition, won the IBMA Recorded Event of the Year, and the group became a proving ground for talents such as Larry Stevenson and Dale Perry, and counted prestigious venues like the White House and the Grand Ole Opry among its performance roster. Prior to the formation of the Bluegrass Cardinals, Don Parmley, a Kentucky native, played banjo for the Beverly Hillbillies TV show. Let's welcome the Bluegrass Cardinals. And every other year we honor an early contributor to our music, and this year's Hall of Fame inductee will be Arnold Shultz. Arnold Shultz was an African-American musician from Western Kentucky whose influence shaped the development of bluegrass music. Born into a musical family of a former slave in Ohio County, Kentucky, in 1886, Shultz became renowned along the Ohio and Mississippi rivers for his instrumental talents, particularly on the guitar. He offered Bill Monroe, the future father of bluegrass, one of his first paying jobs as a musician. Playing together at square dances, Monroe credited Shultz's blues-inspired guitar style as a key influence on bluegrass. Despite racial barriers, Shultz collaborated with white musicians, including Forrest Boots Fox, Country and Dixieland Band, where his talent overcame objections to his race. Shultz often influenced other notable musicians, including Kentuckians Kennedy Jones, Merle Travis, Ike Everly, and Tennessean Chet Atkins. Though Shultz never recorded, his legacy endures through those he mentored and inspired. Monroe's encounters with Shultz in the late 1920s were pivotal in shaping his musical journey in the genre of bluegrass. Shultz died in 1931 at only the age of 45 years of age. There you have it, our 2025 Hall of Fame.
Thanks, Ken. It's a pleasure doing this with you each year now as well, man, for sure. Thanks for all you do for us. We're in the middle of announcing the 2025 IBMA Awards nominees live from SiriusXM's Nashville Skyline studio in Music City, USA. I'm Joey Black. Let's welcome back to the stage my co-host, Sierra Hull.
Thank you so much. We've also got Justin Moses over here joining us now on Dobro for this next one. This is one that I wrote for my Spitfire granny. We all know somebody like that, but it's really more of a tribute to all of those folks that show us what strength looks like.
Young love, 1 month old wife, the river took him under, took his life, and she cried, oh Lord, how can I be a widow before 18? New love moved too fast, a little bitty baby blue lights and crash, and she cried, oh God, is this a dream? How could you take him from me? She's a Spitfire, Spitfire. callous smile she pushes through. She's a spitfire, spitfire, with a take it or leave it desire. You really can blame her if she's easy to hate, girl. She's a spitfire. She's in my blood. Oh, she's a spitfire. She's in my blood. Oh, she's a spitfire.
Sarah Hulls, help from Chelsea Moses on that one. Thank you, thank you. Live from Music City, USA, in the SiriusXM Nashville Skyline studio, you're listening to the reveal of the 2025 IBMA Awards nominees. I'm Joey Black with my co-host, Sierra Hull. Still to come, performances from the Travelin McCourys, and right now, let's do some more nominees. We've got the Gospel Recording of the Year nominations. Blue Collar Gospel, Jerry Sally, featuring the Oak Ridge Boys. Songwriters Rick Lang, Joe White, Jerry Sally. Producer Jerry Sally. Label Billy Blue Records. Dear Lord, Darren and Brooke Aldridge. Songwriter Daniel Davis. Producers Darren Aldridge, Mark Fain. Label Billy Blue Records. Even Better When You Listen, Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers. Songwriters Rick Lang, Mark Bondurant. Producer Joe Mullins and the Radio Ramblers. Label Billy Blue Records. He's Gone, J. Lee Roberts. Songwriter Kelsey Harrigill. Producer Byron House. Label Mountain Home Music Company. Winds of Love, Authentic Unlimited. Songwriters Jesse Brock, Stephen Burwell, Jerry Cole, Eli Johnston, John Metter. Producer, Authentic Unlimited. Label, Billy Blue Records.
Well, sure. I'll jump in there. For Instrumental Recording of the Year, we've got Bluegrass in the Backwoods, Jason Carter and Michael Cleveland. Songwriter Kenny Baker. Producers Jason Carter, Michael Cleveland. Label Fiddleman Records. The Drifter, Danny Roberts. Songwriter Danny Roberts. Producers Danny Roberts, Andrea Roberts. Label Mountain Home Music Company. A Drive at Dusk, Authentic Unlimited. Songwriter Jesse Brock. Producer Authentic Unlimited. Label Billy Blue Records. Kern County Breakdown, Jason Carter and Michael Cleveland. Songwriter Buck Owens, Don Rich. Producers Jason Carter and Michael Cleveland. Label Fiddleman Records. Ralph's Banjo Special, Kristen Scott Benson, Gina Brett, and Allison Brown. Songwriters Ralph Stanley. Producer Allison Brown. Label Compass Records. All right, now we'll move on to the nominees for Collaborative Recording of the Year. The nominees are 5 Days Out, 2 Days Back, Allison Brown and Steve Martin, featuring Tim O'Brien. Songwriters Steve Martin, Allison Brown. Producers Allison Brown and Gary West. Label Compass Records. A Million Memories, a song for Byron. Darren and Brooke Aldridge, featuring Vince Gill. Songwriter Vince Gill. Producers Darren Aldridge and Mark Fain. Label Billy Blue Records. Cora Is Gone, Bobby Osborne and C.J. Lewandowski, featuring Rob McCurry and Billy Strings. Songwriter Mac Odell, producer C.J. Lewandowski. Label Turnberry Records. Outrun the Rain, Jason Carter, Michael Cleveland, J. Lee Roberts, and Vince Gill. Songwriters Terry Hurd and Jimmy Urey. Producers, Jason Carter, Michael Cleveland, label Fiddleman Records. And Ralph's Banjo Special, Kristen Scott Benson, Gina Britt, and Allison Brown. Songwriter Ralph Stanley, producer Allison Brown, label Compass Records. I'm Sarah Hall, more nominations to come. And hey, with the promise of the Travelin Mccurys over here to perform, I can't really wait any longer, can y'all? Please make welcome the Travelin Mccurys!
Push it back like a runaway train, about to jump the track. It ain't nothing I've done it all my life. I hate it when I do, but I can pay the price. When you look at me, you know the way that you do, with your loving eyes, you can see right through everything I got, and the truth of my heart. You need an awful lot, you would let it slide. Runaway train with no way to explain where it's going. A reckless old soul falling out of control, and it's showing. Maybe someday when these clouds roll away, you'll hear a new whistle blowing, and we'll go riding on a runaway train. Years may take away frustration that I'm feeling, all the sorrow, hurt, and pain my old heart's been concealing. It's sad the things we know, and our hearts will grow fonder. Forget those little things, and our love will be stronger. Runaway train with no way to explain where it's going. A reckless old soul falling out of control, and it's showing. Maybe someday when these clouds roll away, you'll hear a new whistle blowing,
McCurys, live from Music City, USA in the SiriusXM Nashville Skyline studio. You're listening to the reveal of the 2025 IBMA Awards nominees. I'm Joey Black with my co-host Sierra Hull, here with the nominees for 2025 IBMA Album of the Year.
All right, the nominees for Album of the Year are Arcadia, Allison Krauss and Union Station, producers, Allison Krauss and Union Station, label Down the Road Records. Carter and Cleveland, Jason Carter and Michael Cleveland, producers, Jason Carter and Michael Cleveland, label Fiddleman Records. Earl Jam, Tony Trischka, producers, Tony Trischka, Lawson White, label Down the Road Records. Halloween Prayers, Billy Strings, producers, Billy Strings and John Bryan, label Reprise Records. I Built a World, Bronwyn Keith Hines, producers, Brent Truitt, Bronwyn Keith Hines, label Sugar Petunia Records. All right, now we'll move on to the nominees for Song of the Year. 5 Days Out, 2 Days Back, Allison Brown, Steve Martin featuring Tim O'Brien. Songwriters, Steve Martin, Allison Brown. Producers, Allison Brown and Gary West. Label Compass Records. Big Wheels, Authentic Unlimited. Songwriter, Jerry Cole. Producers, Authentic Unlimited. Label Billy Blue Records. Cold Dust Kisses, The Grascals. Songwriters, Suzanne Mumpower, Jerry Sally. Producer, The Grascals, labels, Mountain Home Music Company. My Favorite Picture of You, Darren and Brooke Aldridge. Songwriters, Darren Aldridge, Brooke Aldridge, and Denise Duff. Producers, Darren Aldridge, Mark Fain, label Billy Blue Records. And lastly, Outrun the Rain, Jason Carter and Michael Cleveland. Songwriters, Terry Hurd, Jimmy Urey. Producers, Jason Carter and Michael Cleveland, label Fiddleman Records.
Thank you, Sierra. Once again, let's go to the stage here live at SiriusXM, the Travelin' McCurys.
I picture a rainbow. You held it in your hands. I had flashes. You saw the plan. I wandered out in the world for years, while you just stayed in your room. I saw the crescent. You saw the whole of the moon, the whole of the moon. You were there in the turnstiles with the wind at your heels. You stretched for the stars, and you know how it feels to reach too high, too far, too soon. You saw the whole of the moon. I was grounded while you filled the skies. I was dumbfounded by truth. You cut through lies. I saw the rain-dirty valley. You saw Brigadoon. I saw the crescent. You saw the whole of the moon. spoke about wings, and you just flew. I wondered, I guessed, and I tried. You just knew. My side. But you flew. I saw the crescent. You saw the moon of the moon, the moon of the moon. With a torch in your pocket and the wind at your heels, you climbed on the ladder and you know how it feels to get too high, too far, too soon. You saw the moon of the moon, the moon of the moon. Unicorns and cannonballs, palaces and piers, towers, trumpets, tenements, wide ocean full of tears, flags, rags, ferry boats, senators and scars, every precious dream and vision underneath the stars. Yes, you climbed on the ladder with the wind in your sails. You came like a comet, blazing your trail. Too high, too far, too soon. You saw the moon of the moon, the moon of the moon.
Travelin McCurys. You're listening to the reveal of the 2025 IBMA Awards nominees live from SiriusXM in Nashville. I'm Joey Black with my co-host Sierra Hull. I'd like to talk to a member of a band being inducted into the Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame this year. One of the purveyors of the ancient tones, Tim O'Brien of Hot Rize. Tim, it's a pleasure to have you here, man. Finally, nice to get to see you face to face.
Yes, nice to put a face with the voice.
That makes one to say that ever. What does it mean to have you now with Hot Rize on that short list of artists that are forever immortalized in the Bluegrass Hall of Fame, man?
Well, it's really a great honor. It's kind of surreal, and you know, if you want to cross the street, you need to look left and right, I suppose. It's a good idea. If you want to figure out where you're at, you want to look at where you've been and where you're headed. I just signed a mortgage on a new iPhone, so I know where I'm headed. And when I look at the past, I realize that Hot Rize is an awful big part of that and kind of foundational to who I am. And you know, I feel like more like I am today than ever before.
Profound words. So if I were to hand you a cell phone, not an iPhone, right now, and Charles Sawtelle was on the other side, and either he was going to say something to you, or you were going to say something to him about this, what would you say, or what would he say to you in his?
I would be so happy to talk to Charles. I feel like I talk to him every day in my heart and soul, because he really was such a big part of our music, and really the soul of it, really. He was the artist among us. We were all kind of working men playing and trying to figure our way, but he had a sort of sense of things, and I'd ask him how things are, where he is, and whether there's bluegrass there. But I would say thank you, Charles, for putting the soul and the perspective forward in our music.
Well, congratulations. I don't think and another Bluegrass Hall of Fame inductee is here with us today also. David Barnley of the Bluegrass Cardinals. David, congratulations. Anybody who listens to Bluegrass Junction has heard many times over what a huge fan I am of yours. So this is an absolute pleasure to have you here.
Thank
also.
you very much.
Congratulations. I want you to think back to your 15-year-old self making bluegrass in California. Did you ever imagine you would be a legacy artist still making great bluegrass today in 2025 with now an induction into the Hall of Fame?
Not at all, no.
You don't think about those things, right?
No, I was more interested in cars and sports at the time. But no, it's been a wild ride, 50-year ride. In fact, this year is 50 years. So, very, very much an honor.
Well, I guess I kind of have the same question for you as well. If Dad was on a phone, what do you think he would say to you today? Did he have some sort of legendary advice? I mean, so I have plenty of advice words that come right to my head from my dad, you know? What would he say to you about today? Or what would you say to him?
Well, yeah.
Barry Stevenson, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, really?
To be very honest, Dad was never impressed with awards or anything. He played this music and taught me how to play this music for one reason: he loved it. And he didn't. I mean, I remember the year that we won the Families of Tradition album. As soon as we got done performing, he was ready to go. He didn't hang around, didn't want to take pictures, he didn't want to do anything. Let's go. You know, he appreciated it and was very happy. He was just wasn't good at being around that kind of fame, you know. So.
Well, congratulations.
But he'd be very proud, I'm sure.
Yeah, and you should be.
Yeah.
You all should be. This is, again, there's probably not a band today that hasn't been influenced by the Cardinals in one way or another, for sure.
Thank you.
Congratulations to the class of 2025 Bluegrass Music Hall of Fame inductees. It's an honor to be able to co-host this press conference with Sierra Hull and the International Bluegrass Music Association. We still have more nominations to come, but one more time, live from SiriusXM in Nashville, the Travelin' Mccurys.
days. I mean, baby, broke a sweat. You know, it's early to be played that fast. That's pretty good right there, guys. Live from SiriusXM in Nashville, I'm Sierra Hull with my co-host, Joey Black. And here we are with the final nominees for the 2025 IBMA Awards. Vocal Group of the Year: Alison Krauss and Union Station, Authentic Unlimited, Blue Highway, Sister Sadie, and the McCurys Band.
Instrumental Group of the Year: Billy Strings, East Nash Grass, Michael Cleveland and Flamekeeper, Molly Tuttle and Golden Highway, and the Travelin' McCurys.
Now the nominees for Music Video of the Year: 5 Days Out, 2 Days Back, Alison Brown and Steve Martin featuring Tim O'Brien. Songwriters Steve Martin, Alison Brown. Producers Alison Brown and Gary West. Videographer Joseph Spence. Label Compass Records. A Million Memories, song for Byron. Darren and Brooke Aldridge featuring Vince Gill. Songwriter Vince Gill, producer Jenny Gill, videographer Travis Flynn, label Billy Blue Records. Big Wheels, Authentic Unlimited, songwriter Jerry Cole, producers Bryce Free, Kyle Johnson, videographer Bryce Free, label Billy Blue Records. Gallows Pole, Appalachian Roadshow, songwriter Traditional, arranged by Barry Abernathy, Jim Van Cleve, and Daryl Webb, producer Steve Kinney, videographer Steve Kinney, and label Billy Blue Records. Tennessee Hound Dog, The Grascals, songwriter Felice Bryant, is that board, how do you say that? Goodlow Bryant, producer Ty Gilpin, videographer Nate Schubert, label Mountain Home Music Company. The Auctioneer, The Cody Norris Show, songwriters Leroy Van Dyke, Buddy Black, producer James Gilly, videographer Nate Wiles, label Rebel Records. And now, the nominees for Entertainer of the Year: Alison Krauss and Union Station, Appalachian Roadshow, Billy Strings, East Nashgrass, and the Del McCurry Band.
This year's IBMA World of Bluegrass will take place in Chattanooga, Tennessee, September 16th through the 30th, with bluegrass music's biggest night, the 36th annual IBMA Awards show, happening halfway through the week on Thursday, September 18th at the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Auditorium. All that info and more available at ibma.org. We hope to see you all in Chattanooga. I'm Joey Black. I'd like to thank my co-host, Sierra Hull, IBMA Executive Director Ken White, and the whole IBMA team, Jonathan Bertner and his engineering team, Preston, Aaron, Stephen, Daniel, Bluegrass Junction Coordinator Matt Lutz, for all the dedication and hard work that goes into pulling off a show like this, and Lori, our facilities manager, also for helping orchestrate all of this. I'd also like to extend a huge thank you to Sierra Hull and her band and the Travelin' McCurys for performing for us today here. And as tradition would have it, could I ask maybe y'all to get together and play one? Travelin' McCurys. Oh, looks like we have some special guests up here too.
Of course we will, Joey.
Travelin' McCurys, Sierra Hull, and David Parmley and Tim O'Brien.
hear that whistle blow, I wanna pack my clothes and go. The lonesome sound of the train going by makes me wanna stop and cry. In the still of the night, in the pale moonlight, the winds they blow inside. I'm so news, I just can't lose. I'm blue, I'm lonesome too. When I hear that whistle blow, I wanna pack my suitcase and go. The lonesome sound of the train going by makes me wanna stop and cry. I'm blue, I'm lonesome too.
Thank you so much, folks.